Welcome back, guys, to Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations, where last episode, after checking out the remaining evidence, we moved over to investigate lobby number 1 and found Detective Bad within. Talking to him, we revealed the knife was Yatagarasu's key, before hearing his testimony again, with the soundproofing of the rooms being revealed to add to the mystery. Having now checked out the scene of the murders once again, we revealed the source of the gunshot heard by those who did find the TV to have the missing evidence of the shooting that took place in the original KG8 incident, with its volume turned way up, showing the time of the murders have been manipulated. We have now been called by Ms Yew, who said she has found out who the murderer is, and so we return to the courtroom. A comprehensive introduction. Even you? You've been called too? Did you do it? Okay, what are you doing here?
Oh, hello, mister. I'm still investigating.
The object you're looking for is already... Okay, don't mind him. Please continue with your investigation.
Okay, you got it.
Detective Bad, haven't we already found what you were looking for? If it means I can keep her in the dark just a little longer, any little task will do.
Oh, you're more sympathetic than I thought.
I like how we just assume our positions.
I've been waiting for you, Edgeworth.
What's the judge? I've also been waiting for the moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest.
The moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest. Wasn't that when we placed Detective Gumshoe under arrest? I think we've more than solved this case already. Don't you? We'll see. It all depends on whether or not your logic holds. Oh, I see. We even have a viewer in the gallery, and why? Even Mr. Bad is here. A viewer in the gallery? I'm hardly just a bystander.
I have a duty to see this case through to the end. No matter how it turns out.
Oh, is that right? Anyway, I thought you might like to hear what I slaved away to find out. I've taken statements on every single person's movements during the time when our suspect was in the hallway. I also confirmed there is no possible route of escape from lobby number 2. Therefore, the killer must without a doubt be Detective Gumshoe.
And that's all you have?
Yeah, that's all there is to my conclusion and this case.
Sorry, but I beg to differ. In a trial, there's always time for a rebuttal, and we are standing in a court of law. It'd be more than appropriate to follow the rules of court in this case, don't you think?
How absolutely like a rookie to think such a thing. But alright, I'll play along, give you a proper testimony.
If my logic is correct, then I've already won. All I have to do now is to prove it by showing who the real killer is. Ms Yew's argument.
Everyone, sans the suspect, has an alibi for when the gun went off. Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right? I also confirmed there is no possible escape route from lobby number 2. Which leaves us with one unshakable conclusion. The Detective Gumshoe is the killer. Can you stop cracking up? Is there helium pumped into your face somehow? Now that you have your testimony, I expect a good rebuttal, Edgeworth.
But of course, there is no need to confront her logic head-on right now. I should instead focus on drawing out any trump cards she has up her sleeve. Are you saying to press then? I actually don't want to press, which sucks because she's going to laugh at everything you say. It's annoying. She's so irritating. Just imagine you were talking to someone and they just laughed at everything you said. My goodness.
Everyone stands the suspect as an alibi for when the gun went off.
Hold it! The suspect? But I thought the Detective Gumshoe's alibi has already been proven.
Are you joking, Edgeworth?
I assure you, this is no joke.
Look, I know you heard from the judge earlier. The detective was in the hallway with Mr. Faraday's daughter eating a Swiss roll.
Yes, that is correct.
You see, that was 20 minutes before the real gunshot went off, right? And the problem is, there's no one else who can corroborate what he did since the snacking.
I see she's done her research well. Which means that I should focus on drawing out whatever trump card she's withholding.
Yeah, you said that.
You said that already.
Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right?
Hold it!
Yeah, but it was in something that we've missed stuff.
Whether they have been thoroughly investigated or not is for me to decide.
That's scrunched eyebrows and lines on your forehead are back. Anyway, even if you believe it hasn't been exhausted, the crime scene, lobby number 2, has no way out other than the hallway Detective Gumshoe was standing in. And because he claimed to be there, that makes him the only possible suspect. But isn't it also possible that someone escaped through a window into the garden? That's the first place everyone looked silly. The police aren't a bunch of lazy bums. They looked into every possibility, you know. Isn't that right, Mr. Bad?
Yeah. There wasn't a scrap of evidence to suggest someone used one of the windows. There also weren't any footprints or anything in the courtyard garden.
I suppose they really did check everything that could be relevant to the case. I also confirmed that there is no possible escape route from lobby number 2.
Hold it!
Are you absolutely positive that there are no possible routes of escape? Of course I'm sure. And why are you so certain? This is a courthouse, the place where criminals are brought to be judged. If there were an escape route, I'm sure every criminal would be using it to escape. It's just common sense. Miles Edgeworth, I suggest you use a bit more of it in the future. Ah! Which leaves us with one unshakable conclusion. The Detective Gumshoe is the killer.
Hold it!
You find, like, I guess you would find hairs and stuff in that room, to be honest, but still. You may think it's unshakable, but to me, there are still too many unanswered questions. For example, who was it that placed the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand? You're the only one still wondering that! Detective Gumshoe probably had no idea which hand Mr. Faraday used to write with. Even if you know someone, it doesn't mean you'll know which hand they write with, right? That's true. I mean, I certainly don't care about that sort of thing. I'm not about to let her get a rise out of me with such a flippant statement. To be honest, you probably know... Actually, wait a second. You probably would know if someone was a lefty. You wouldn't know if they were a righty. Do you know what I mean? So you assume that everyone you didn't know was a righty. But you probably, like... It would probably come up that... The alien lefties! They're all here! With their left hands doing things! No, not really alien lefties. But you know what I mean? Like, it's less common, so therefore it's more likely to stand out. So if you're going to know either-handed person, if you're going to know one, you're going to know that they're left-handed. Not necessarily they're right, I guess. You'd make an assumption because you didn't know they were right-handed. So I don't know. Is that admissible? I don't know. What? I'm not about to let her get a rise out of me with such a flippant statement. Well, it took me on a tangent. I suppose we've really reached the end now. I already have my trump card ready. All that remains is to play it. But before I do, I think I should inquire into a little something about her argument. You said earlier you confirmed the alibis of every person other than the suspect. However, I don't recall either Francisco or myself speaking with you about the subject. Ah, but there were witnesses. For you, there is your mentor who gave you an alibi. I see. As for the little missy, she came to the courthouse during the recess. And was stopped by a security guard at the door of the hallway. She gave him quite a whipping for that, so I heard. I'm the daughter of Manfred von Karma, and I will not be forcibly stopped by a guard or a bailiff or anyone else. Right, so basically the only reason Francisca bothered to show up today was because she found out that I was to be the replacement prosecutor. By the way, Ms Yew, what about everyone's alibis before Detective Gumshoe was assigned to guard duty? What about them? Have you looked into what people were doing during that span of time? What kind of idiot do you take me for? It doesn't matter when the killer went into lobby number 2. From the time we heard the gunshot, to the time Mr. Bad and I arrived on the scene as we dashed from lobby number 1. The only person who could have committed the crime was Detective Gumshoe. Yes, let's talk about when you and Detective Bad had that gunshot, shall we? I suppose that if we go by your logic, then Detective Gumshoe is the only one. However, what if the crime had occurred at an entirely different time than when that gunshot you heard went off? What then? That gunshot was a trap meant to manipulate our perception of... Sadly, your explanation is very lacking, Edgeworth. The gunshot we heard in lobby number 1, care to explain how that could have been fabricated? Oh, well, you just... Take that! Laid it out for us. That tape! Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. This is a surveillance tape of Mr. Rell, the prosecution, and presented in today's trial. This was found loaded in the video player in lobby number 2. That was connected to the large television that had its volume turned all the way up. You can't honestly mean that the sound we heard was the gunshot in the video?
Ah, but I do. Which leads me to my next point. The murders occurred much earlier than when anyone heard the gunshot. That's the only thing I can think of too. After committing double homicide, the killer took the surveillance video out from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag, turned the television's volume all the way up and left the video to play. If played from the beginning, it would take 30 minutes for the gunshot sound to come on. And since we now know that this method of time manipulation is possible, it opens up the possibility that the killer is someone other than Detective Gumshoe.
Objection!
Sounds from a television doesn't amount to much here. But of course, Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth and little Miss Von Karma already knew that much from the very beginning, right? Of course we knew, didn't we, Miles? Yes, of course. We know about the soundproof quality of this courthouse's rooms. Of course, I'm not about to admit we had no idea until only a little while ago. That's right, and if the rooms are soundproof, then we should not have been able to hear it. And yet we heard the gunshot clear as day. That's it. End of story. But it's not. How should I explain why she was able to hear a gunshot from a soundproof room? Well, the window is open. There is actually one common point between lobby number 1 and lobby number 2. And it is that despite the fact that both rooms have air conditioners installed, a window was open in each. Now we know that the window in lobby number 2 was opened by the killer. However, a window in lobby number 1 was also open.
Objection!
It's probably just coincidence that they were both open at the same time.
Objection!
It was no mere coincidence, I assure you. Why was the window open in lobby number 1? The answer is that a certain person did something to cause the window to be opened. And the person who triggered that action, that person is the real guilty party. The real killer in this double murder is... I mean, we wait and we say it. It's you!
Take that!
Miss Callisto Yew, I hereby formally indict you of the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. L. What? You indict me? Oh, there goes your lipstick. Are you serious, Miles? Why do you think she is the killer? I don't understand her motive just yet. But of course I'm serious, because she is the only one who could have done it. Well, Ms Yew, do you still feel like laughing now? Of course I do, Edgeworth. My grip must not be tight enough yet. Although I never thought things would spiral into this. But I'll have you know I'm enjoying this dance quite a bit. I guess this means it's time for my own rebuttal now, right? I don't mind that. That gives me something to work with. You argue the window was open. However, do you have proof it was I who did that? Yeah, kind of we do, don't we? Furthermore, do you have proof that the tape was used in committing the crime? Frankly, I'm shocked at you for going around accusing people of murder like this. Especially with logic as full of holes as yours. I mean, I'm pretty sure we have proof straight away. This is where it really starts. I mustn't let my guard down for even a second or the truth will blow away. Now is the time to put the patented Von Karma perfect proof to the test. It's literally the challenge in her first statement. You argue the window was open. However, do you have proof it was I who did that? We do. Let's press first. Evidence. All I need to do is have some prints analysed and we know straight away. Huh, be my guest? She sounds as though she has the room to manoeuvre, which means even if we were able to lift prints, they'd only show that it was someone else. But why that someone else was forced to open the window? That's simple logic. Why don't I try presenting that piece of evidence? I have nothing to lose. What's wrong? The scratched eyebrow, the lines in your forehead, they're all back. More importantly, are you going to be okay not running a fingerprint analysis? Yes, I'll be fine. Oh, well, in that case, I'll just continue my testimony, alright? Now I've got to backtrack. Because it was very obvious that statement was the statement. Especially when Edgeworth was like, we need to present! Ms Yew's perfume! Given to Bad by you. Same perfume as the one spilled in lobby number 1, causing Detective Bad to open things up.
Objection!
I'm sure you've seen this before, haven't you, Ms Yew? Edgeworth, I never knew you were into wearing that kind of perfume. It's not exactly what I'd recommend for boys, you know. What? This isn't mine.
That's right, it's mine, and I received it from Detective Bad, you see. Ms Yew, you can pretend all you like, but we know at least this much for sure. That this bottle of perfume was given to Detective Bad by you. Because it gets really strong really fast. So, what about the perfume? While you were in lobby number 1, you made a big show of spilling some of this perfume. That's according to Detective Bad. I know. You also knew that if you spilled it, he would naturally move to open a window.
Objection!
Come now, I've already told you that it's all just a big coincidence. After we opened the window in lobby number 1, I just left it open, you know. So maybe it was just dumb luck that we heard the gunshot through the window. The timing of when you were going to spill the perfume is something you could control. And the most important factor about this case is when people were made to hear the shot. Furthermore, it would have been pointless if you didn't have an alibi for yourself at the time. You mean, Ms Yew, you were the one who called Detective Bad into lobby number 1 when you saw him bring Detective Gumshoe into the hallway. Is that correct? All of today's premeditated events could only have been thought of by you, Ms Yew. You accuse me of murder on the fact that I spilled a little perfume. Well, allow me to say this much. I couldn't have killed Mr. Faraday. Would you care to testify as to why? Look, I've had a lot of fun today, really. But I grow weary of this game of cat and mouse. Let's make this the last testimony and wrap up this absurd case once and for all. Why it couldn't be me. Accusing someone of murder over the spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top. But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma. Ooh. In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Mr. Faraday. Why? After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from. Miles, her testimony is flawless. Yeah, but she knew, like, the knife miraculously appeared. Yes, but no matter what sort of tricks she may try to pull, she won't escape me. And if I'm lacking in information, I'll just draw it out of her. Why, it couldn't be me. See, this is really confusing at the moment, because she knew... She brought up very specifically that. I mean, that is probably the thing that has been brought up anyway at that point in time if you were proclaiming your innocence, to be fair. But the point is hinging around this now. Accusing someone of murder over a spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top.
Hold it!
I think I already explained the significance of that earlier. You only confirmed that I did spill some perfume, but that's all. That you would accuse me of murder based on a simple spill. Don't you dare complain when I sue you for defamation of character. Do as you like, but as for me, I believe. You believe? I believe that you are the true culprit in this case. Mike, you're enthusiastic. Of course I should have guessed. But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma. Oh my goodness, I wonder how Francisca's going to react. I formally request you desist in your attack against my mentor. Yes, or we'll sue you for defamation. Everyone's suing now. All I'm really doing is telling the truth. Well, maybe more like spreading gossip. Although your adamant denials are, shall we say, just adding fuel to the fire. How dare you say such a thing? Calm down, little girl. Don't let her get to you. Why do you have to ruin my fun? Well, shall I continue? In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Mr. Faraday.
Hold it!
And why exactly could you not have killed him? I was just about to testify to that. Yeah, I was about to say that as well. You're such an impatient man. I'm not really into that, you know, Edgeworth. Your preferences have no bearing on what is at hand. Feeling a little uncomfortable, are we?
Objection!
Ms Yew, you will desist in this tomfoolery and return to your testimony. And Miles, if you're going to lose your cool, then I won't show you any mercy. Sorry. Ms Yew, please continue your testimony. Sure. As I was saying, I couldn't have possibly killed Mr. Faraday. After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from.
Hold
At this rate, she will inevitably escape. But if she really was the one who killed Mr. Faraday, then she must have known about the existence of the knife. I'm sorry, Ms Yew. Maybe you weren't aware. However, the knife that was used to kill Mr. Faraday was taken from his evidence bag. Miles, what do you think you're doing? I'm drawing the truth out of her. That's what I'm doing. Huh, but I don't recall a knife being presented at trial earlier today. Well, I suppose that's because the evidence was something Mr. Faraday had yet to use. So that's what you're trying to do. Look, why don't you cut it out with the lies? I've already figured you out. There was no knife inside Mr. Faraday's evidence bag. The only evidence he had yet to present was the key the Yatagarasu had sent. And unless a key can magically turn into a knife, you really don't have a leg to stand on. Did you really think you could trap me? Come now, be honest! I never intended to do such a thing. It was all a misunderstanding on my part. In any case, I wonder if you might append what you just said to your testimony. Sure. Why not? I'll even say as many times as you'd like. There was a key in his evidence bag, but you can't kill anyone with a simple key. I mean... do I just present the key that was a knife? You can, if the key is a knife. She basically just laid it all out. She's a bit dumb, isn't she? Did she not know? That'd be a bit confusing if she didn't. Ms Yew, I wonder if you might take a look at this photo for me. This is a picture of the key the Yatagarasu sent to the police. However, while it may look like a key at first glance, it in fact has a secret ability to transform into a knife. Which means that what was inside Mr. Faraday's bag was both the Yatagarasu's key and the murderous knife. You knew the key was inside Mr. Faraday's bag, did you not? Yes. Well, with the Yatagarasu's key alone, it's more than possible to kill Mr. Faraday. Do you understand now? Just knowing of the existence of the Yatagarasu's key. Are you ready? I still haven't had a good look at it. Showing it to me from that far away, you could be lying for all I know. You would, even now, still feign ignorance. I'm not feigning anything. But we can't have you accusing me of a crime with false evidence now, can we? I mean, Mr. Von Karma, I've heard some very interesting rumors about him. Are you mocking my papa? Don't you dare sully the good name of my mentor. Now take a good look. This piece of evidence is more than real. Wow, who knew there was such a trick to this thing? Are you satisfied now? But of course you knew from the very beginning, didn't you? You knew that the knife and the Yatagarasu's key are one and the same. Otherwise, someone like you, who isn't a member of law enforcement, and who would never have been privy to this trick, would have never known about it to begin with. Furthermore, there's something that the Yatagarasu sent to the police. How did you acknowledge as to what it was? Actually, I heard it from Mr. Faraday. Just before he dragged Mr. Rell off, he told me. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. He also told me about the key turning into a knife at that time. Well, he didn't tell me about how the key actually transforms. What he was saying is simply not possible. Oh, and why not? Because Mr. Faraday himself didn't know about the hidden knife within the key. But within these pages, he mentions nothing about a knife. I'm not sure he would have written everything in his organizer, you know. Wouldn't something of this importance be better left to oral communication? Objection! Unfortunately, that is also impossible. Because Detective Bad didn't know about the knife aspect either. What would have been highly classified information even within the police force, and is something that even the lead detective on the case didn't know. Why would Mr. Faraday have felt the need to share such information with the opposition? Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have much of a reason to. Looks like I gave a pretty lame excuse, huh? How can you laugh at a time like this? She probably just realized the flaw in her logic and is actually in a panic over it. But that's not something we need to concern ourselves with. I suppose you're right. Ms Yew, I'd like to state that I also know how you know the real nature of the knife.
Do you know? Well, do you now even? Well, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and show me?
Oh, I will, and I'll wipe that smile off your face by the time we're through. This is it, the moment of truth, the secret behind the Yatagarasu's key. Only one person would have had knowledge of it from the get-go. Who would know from the start that the Yatagarasu's key could change into a knife? Only possibly the Yatagarasu, which is weird when you think about it.
Take that!
There was only one person who would have known about the dual nature of the key.
And that is?
And that is the person who sent the Yatagarasu's key to the police. That is to say, the Yatagarasu herself.
Are you saying this lawyer is the great thief Yatagarasu?
Ms Yew, you used Mr. Rell to lure Mr. Faraday into a trap, didn't you? You who profess to bear a grudge against criminals. Why? Why do something like this?
Who would have thought that you, a stupid rookie prosecutor, would see through me? You're sending the biggest chill down my spine right now, Edgeworth. This feeling of thrill is even greater than when I sneak into some place.
You? You? You killed Faraday? Why? Answer me, Callisto Yew.
Callisto Yew, huh? That's not my real name. Because my real identity is, yes, the great thief, Yatagarasu. Let me tell you something, Edgeworth. Mr. Faraday was one difficult man to deal with. You see, he had discovered my true identity, which is why I had to erase him from the world of law. I made Rell an offer, an acquittal for a little favour in return. All he had to do was accuse Mr. Faraday of being the Yatagarasu in court. But once we entered the recess, Rell was dragged off by Mr. Faraday, which threw my plan into a complete mess. I chased after them and eavesdropped on them through a crack in the door. That Rell caves to only two things, money and authority, just as all thugs do. I feared my plan was going to be ruined if Mr. Faraday held on to Rell any longer. Plus, if I had let them continue on the way they were, I would have been found out. That's why I had no choice. I had to kill them both.
But did you say that you despise criminals?
But do I really?
You? Have you forgotten about the KJ incident too?
Maybe. What sort of woman would... So then, was it your plan to kill Mr. Faraday with the very evidence you sent? Well, I had a good idea what Mr. Faraday was going to do. I anticipated that Mr. Faraday was going to prove that Rell wasn't the Yatagarasu by using this Yatagarasu's key as evidence and that he would bring it with him. Which is why I thought to use the knife portion. With a weapon as well disguised as this, no one would be the wiser. Because who in their right mind would think something like this could be a weapon? I casually entered lobby number 2 on the pretext that I had to talk with Mr. Faraday. And in order to get in with him, I pretended to be worried about something. He then let me hold the Yatagarasu's key, just like that. He never noticed that I had changed the key into a knife inside that plastic bag. And he didn't have the chance to take note of the knife that took his life.
How could you kill him?
I knew him for a long time, you know. At the very least, I thought to give him a quick and painless death.
But if you killed Mr. Faraday first, there was no need for you to kill Mr. Rell as well.
I believe I mentioned why when we were placed in Detective Gumshoe under arrest. Did you? I was trying to think about that. Later, I got me caught in mid-sentence. What? Did you? Something about having accidentally created an eyewitness. Oh yeah, very true. And how that led the killer to think about setting them up as though they'd killed each other.
And the trick with the surveillance tape.
Yes, I hadn't actually planned to use a gun.
The risk was too high that I'd be caught. However, that's when I remembered the existence of that surveillance tape, which is why I had Rel help me set up the crime scene. And after all was said and done, I rewarded him for all his hard work with a bullet. You're a defense attorney, aren't you? How could you betray a client?
Client? If you want to talk about who was a client of who's first, it was me.
I was the client in the murder of the Cadopian embassy staff member, Dade Munn. You ordered a hit job.
You still haven't figured it out, Mr. Bad.
I had Dade Munn killed because he was about to give away info about the smuggling ring.
Now, who exactly do you think would benefit from such an assassination?
It can't be. You're...
That's right. I'm a member of the smuggling ring.
What? How could this... You don't mean you're working with Manny Cochin too, do you?
Maybe, maybe not. Guess you never know.
Yatagarasu claims to be noble, but you're just another cold-blooded murderer.
That's right, little girl. Yatagarasu's just another killer.
Be quiet. You! Yatagarasu! You can run from the law, but you'll never escape it. So just humbly accept the judgment of this court.
Hey, Edgeworth. Did you know Yatagarasu has 3 legs? Do you know why that is? No? Well, let me tell you. It means that the Yatagarasu has more than one razor-sharp way to do her work. You really are too naive, Edgeworth. You even handed the Yatagarasu's key right to me without a second thought. Everything may not have gone according to plan, but I'll still gladly take it.
Ah! You mean the key was your real target?
And even after I gave you such great advice, didn't I tell you to always keep a good eye on a criminal? Or you may regret what comes to your negligence.
You two, get down!
Ah! Ah!
Ah, my body. I can't move.
Hey, mister, to your right!
You!
Oh, that'd be you! That'd be better. I was a bit surprised. I thought it would be someone else shouting, but it was actually Bad.
Are you alright, Franziska?
I'm perfectly fine, Miles.
Her voice is shaking, but it looks like she's unharmed.
Where did Kay go?
That's a gunshot.
No, Bad! This is bad.
Oh, he's fine. Sorry, but it looks like she got away. I called the precinct. They should have a perimeter set up soon. Detective Bad, are you alright? I heard a gunshot. I'm okay. Just got another hole in my jacket. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I bet you'd be sweating. Man, like, does your body have some kind of weird magnetic field that just seems to force everything to the side? Or does your coat have magnets lined in it so strong that they just zoop them in? You may say he's fine, but he looks quite shaken. I mean, this has got to stop happening to him. I'd quit his job if I were him.
But more importantly, boy, I mean, Mr. Edgeworth, Miss Von Karma, are you two hurt?
I'm absolutely fine.
I'm also alright, thanks to Kay. Speaking of Kay, where is she? I don't know, she just sort of disappeared. Yeah, I'll go look for her. Oh, and hey, Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir! Detective Bad, sir! I'm sorry I doubted you. Don't worry, sir. It's not your fault. Well, I lied to you guys too, after all. I heard about what happened. From Kay. Lying while giving testimony is still unforgivable. But in this case, you protecting Kay and her feelings. Looks like you just might have what it takes to be a real detective. Now, don't you ever lose that detective spirit, okay? You got it, Pops!
Pops, watched one too many detective dramas recently, have we? Way to single-handedly destroy the cheery atmosphere of one snarky comment.
I should get back to the investigation. I swear, I'll catch you if it's the last thing I do. Be careful, Detective Bad, and take care. Thanks. Well, I'm off. Maybe we'll run into each other again someday. Thanks so much, pal. You're the best. You really did find out the truth behind everything.
Yes, well, I'm glad we solved everything before you were taken to prison.
I can't believe how much trouble I caused you with my testimony, Detective Gumshoe. It's no problem, really. I mean, I lied too, so I didn't help anything. It's really not your fault, Your Honour.
Well, even if we didn't have his honest testimony, I think that the lawyer would have found another way to get you convicted on her behalf.
Yeah, I can't believe I was about to get fired during my first week as a detective.
Well, so long as you're not fired, you should work hard, give all that you have, and perform your duties well. Oh, and one more thing. Kay left a present for you with me.
She did? Oh, what is it?
What was it that Kay left for me? The proof of their friendship. It was a Swiss roll.
Is that Swiss roll?
Maybe we should buy her a Swiss roll in the present now that we've remembered things.
It's a courthouse special Swiss roll. Can I really have it?
Yes, it's a present meant for you, after all.
Thanks a bunch. You have no idea how happy this makes me, pal. I'm gonna eat this right now.
Sure, go ahead. The Swiss rolls Detective Gumshoe and Kay brought together, while the one Kay saved never reached her father. It would appear that her sentiments have touched the heart of this detective. He's so happy it's as though he's having a welcome back celebration of his own. Well, I was asked by Kay to give it to him.
Whoop, that was good, pal. I can't believe I got to eat 2 of these delicious things in one day. It's like I'm in Swiss roll paradise or something. I've got to thank Kay myself. Hey, wait, where is she?
I only noticed just now. Was his mind not present when we discussed it earlier? Detective Bad left to go search for her earlier. Maybe we should go join him.
Yeah, you betcha, pal. I'm gonna go help him. Oh, but first, you know what, pal? Actually, I guess I shouldn't be so rude to you anymore, huh? I'm gonna stick right by your side from now on, Mr. Edgeworth, sir.
I sense nothing but a most troublesome relationship from that ominous statement. We should go home too, Miles. We have to hurry and report what has happened to Papa. Agreed. Well, I'm afraid we must be going now, Detective.
Roger, sir. And don't you worry. I'll investigate the next case we're on real well.
I'll, be counting on you. The scent of trouble is definitely in the air. Thus, like a bad dream, my first outing at court came to a disturbing end. A few months later, I was finally able to properly stand in court as a prosecutor. But the detective in charge of the investigation was, as I dreaded, Detective Gumshoe. After that, he became my direct subordinate. I have tried, but words fail to describe the immeasurable suffering he has caused me. But I suppose that's just how things are. As for the little girl who suddenly disappeared, she's now a lot older. So, do you remember now? Yes, I remember everything. Kay, it's been a while.
Kay, you sure grew up a lot.
Of course, but thank goodness. I thought you had totally forgotten about me.
You know, I was really worried about you after all that. Where have you been all this time?
Gummy, I didn't know you cared. After my father died, I went to go live with my mother's relatives. They lived really far away, so I wasn't really able to come back here all that much.
Oh, is that what happened? Well, I'm just glad you're alright.
So, does it all make sense now?
You betcha it does. Doesn't make sense why you've become the Yatagarasu.
Oh, you know what? I was going through my father's bookshelves recently, and...
Hold it!
Actually, there are still a number of things that don't make sense, Kay. Huh?
First of all, why did you come all this way to see me? And second, why are you calling yourself the Yatagarasu? The Yatagarasu is Callisto Yew, the woman who killed your father. No, you're wrong. The real Yatagarasu was my father.
Mr. Faraday was the Yatagarasu?
Like I said, I was going through my father's bookshelf recently, and I found a secret diary hidden among his books. I have no regrets in choosing to walk the path of the Yatagarasu. And that was written in his diary, and that's how I know for sure.
But that's impossible.
What's with that look? You don't believe me?
It wasn't just the expression on my face. I clearly said it was impossible just now.
Alright then, how do you explain this?
Good point. It's a way of disarming any security system of the user's choosing.
Yep, that's the little thief. Truth be told, this is the Yatagarasu's greatest secret. And this little gizmo was used by my father.
Wow! Mr. Faraday wasn't just a great prosecutor, he was a really great thief, huh?
Yeah, my father worked really hard to steal the truth. But he was killed, and the Yatagarasu was no more. But despite that, the Yatagarasu has been spotted again recently.
Someone other than you.
Here, Mr. Edgeworth. Take a look at this article.
The Yatagarasu sent the embassy a calling card.
Yeah, meaning this person's a fake. I'm almost certain the Callisto Yew lady is behind this. Because the real Yatagarasu would never send something like a gaudy card out.
The Yatagarasu did send a white card along with anything to be publicized. That's what Detective Bad told me 7 years ago, if memory serves.
Well, as soon as I heard the news, I got all wound up, and I knew I couldn't just let it go. So I searched you out, so that I could obtain the truth behind the Yatagarasu. Because if anyone can help me find it, I figured it's you, Mr. Edgeworth.
So you're saying that I have your father's and Ms Yew's identities backwards?
Yes, because the real Yatagarasu was noble to the end. And I want to revive the real, noble Yatagarasu. If I don't, my father will never be able to rest in peace.
Kay, you're so honourable. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'll always be in a G1 pal. Even if you are honourable, a thief is a thief. And if you are plotting to commit a crime, then I'm afraid I can't be complicit. Mr. Edgeworth. You guys are not making it easy for me. Who am I supposed to support now?
Mr. Edgeworth, what I want from you is not to steal something. What I want is the arrest of that evil woman.
That evil woman? You mean Callisto Yew?
I think it's too hard for me to capture her all by myself. But I thought that since you were able to expose her for who she is, then maybe. Please, Mr. Edgeworth,
wouldn't you help me?
Come to think of it, I do believe I owe you.
Huh? Owe me for what? Kick in the rear? When Ms Yew made her escape, it was you who saved my life. Furthermore, you helped me with the investigation today. I am not so rude as to leave favors unrepaid.
Then you mean?
Yes. That case has been weighing down my soul ever since that fateful day. Perhaps the time has come to settle things once and for all. If you don't intend to sully your hands in a crime, then I believe I can help you.
Mr. Edgeworth, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Isn't that great, Kay?
Yeah, it sure is, Gummy.
Even though he had completely forgotten about her until just now. What is with their chummy relationship? Sweet rolls, baby. The great thief, Yatagarasu. After all that time, the true identity of the thief sank back into the darkness. Ben Faraday, Callisto Yew, and Kay Faraday. The phantasmagorically changing identity of the great thief Yatagarasu. And the Yatagarasu's real goal. It would all come to light the day after I made that promise to Kay. The day after. This timeline is thin, as the end is reached. Another case is complete, as we now move on to Turnabout Ablaze. Next time on Miles Edgeworth, Ace Attorney
investigations. See, this is why I had a problem with the calling card, by the way. It's too easy to replicate and just pretend that Yatagarasu by sending the exact same calling card out to everyone. It's just too easy to just take a name. And that's probably what happened. That really was it. So if Burn Faraday managed to steal stuff and not, you know, use a calling card and just, you know, learn the truth. I don't know why, like, this great thief that learns the truth, couldn't, like, Kay do, you know, not illegal routes? Couldn't she, like, go into, like, investigative journalism or something? Like, be an actual really good one? Not one that's, like, snooping around celebrities and all that for, like, weird goss. Unless it's, like, a serious crime they did. But, like, actual serious stuff. Dangerous life to live, but great thief is a dangerous life as well. Bit more on the side of legality. Well, let's find out. Maybe her future choices. I don't know. Because now, another case. Everything comes to a head, does it? We'll find out next time. I hope you guys join me for the continuation. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.